check, mic check. Mic check, mic check. Mic check, mic check. Good evening, good evening, good evening. Welcome to another episode of the P-Ave Perspective. I'm your host, Mr. O'Neill. I want to thank everybody for tuning in tonight, whether you're watching a live stream or whether you're watching a replay on YouTube. Appreciate y'all tuning in, spending this hour of y'all week with me. Now, this episode is entitled To Catch a Predator. But not the kind of predator you see on TV. We talking about the predators that you see every day. We talking about the ones that walk like us, talk like us, smile in your face, but their goal is to prey on your mind, your emotions, your money, your peace, and your future. We talking about that type of predator. And let's be real, in our communities, too many people fall victim to predators disguised as partners, pastors, friends, business folks, and yes, even family. But it's time we stop being fooled and start being aware. It's time. And let's talk about what a predator really is, how they operate, and how to shut the door on the bull. That's what we talking about today, y'all. To catch a predator. To catch a predator. First of all, for the sense of this topic, let me define what a predator is. A predator in this context is a person who intentionally seeks out vulnerable individuals to exploit them for personal gain. Mentally, emotionally, sexually, financially, spiritually, or even socially. They manipulate trust, they take advantage of weaknesses, and often leave people broken and drained. Now, some examples of What I mean when I say predators are, first, a man who pretends to love a woman just to move in, live rent free, and control her. That is a predator. A spiritual leader using their position to manipulate their followers. That is a predator. A woman who emotionally manipulates a man to get money, housing, or status. That is a predator. A scammer who preys on struggling folks with promises of riches only to rob them. That is a predator. That is a predator. And let's be realistic, y'all. We know some predators. We know some predators. And honestly, a lot of these predators are protected by the black community. And when I say that, I mean a lot of these predators are male predators are protected by the women that they're involved with. You know what I'm saying? A lot of times they're protected. And me personally, I know so because a lot of the women in my life have been involved with predators. And in a situation where it's me, anyone that knows me know, it's just like all of them are predators. Just like we talk about the child predators, all of them are predators. And the real man of this world, understand and know that it is our duty to protect not only ourselves, but our family, the women and kids, from the predators in their lives. And I say that because, like I said, a lot of women protect these people. A lot of women feel like these people love them. They bought into the game. They bought into the con. And they protect these guys. So it makes it harder to really weed out the real predators. Because, like I said so often before on this podcast, you have, like I mentioned earlier, you have men who prey on women and act like they love them, you know what I'm saying, to get a place to stay, you know what I'm saying, live rent free and leech off of them. And nowadays you have a lot of women that will entertain it just to say they have a man. And they will prop him up, you know what I'm saying, and tell the world that he's a boss and, you know, he's this and he's that, and the whole time they're being preyed upon. And they okay with it in a lot of situations. So that's where I say they're protected. You know what I'm saying? And that's one of the biggest problems. That's one of the biggest problems in trying to weed out. Because like I said, if I had my way, I would probably be in prison right now. Because I would protect all of the women in my life, all of the kids in my life from these predators. But like I said, we first have to identify them and we have to weed them out. So what I want to do now is go over and give y'all the top 5 characteristics of these predators. So if you take this to heart and you really listen to this and you really pay attention to what I'm saying, it should open your eyes and prepare you for possibly meeting the next one. And so hopefully, if you take this advice to heed and you take these characteristics of a predator and you really check them out, hopefully you can avoid this when you come in contact with one of these guys or one of these women the next time, you know, you interact with people. Be aware of these characteristics. Number 1, predators are good at manipulating emotions. They know how to say exactly what you want to hear to gain your trust. An example of that would be a friend always complimenting you and offering support until you say no to something, and then they flip. Like we've all dealt with those type, both men and women, who, like you said, play on your emotions. And that's one of the telling factors in me in dealing with people. Because I'm like a lot of the people I know, I'm a very generous person. I want to help everybody. But like I said, all of us generous people have been in those situations where we help, you know, without even a second thought. But then as soon as we're not able to, as soon as we're in a situation where we have to say no, bam, flip the script. We wrong, you know, and, you know, don't nobody help us, and, you know, this and the third, and they just totally flip the script. And like, Be aware of the person. Be aware of those people, because that is one of the main characteristics of a predator. They don't care unless it's benefiting them. So, like I said, these guys these days, and I'm gonna tell you, like, regardless of what y'all say when y'all on social media, as men, as sane, healthy men, we can see the vulnerability in y'all posts through social media, in the pictures and everything. We understand who's screaming for attention. We understand who's lonely. You know what I'm saying? We understand just by what y'all post, because y'all, honestly, a lot of people are so desperate. You know what I'm saying? Especially the people that, have to talk about how good their sex is, or how they like to take care of their man, or how they like to take care of their woman. And it's like, that is baiting. That is baiting. Those are the worst predators it is. They bait you into a situation with promises of, you know what I'm saying, like making you happy, or being there for you, or taking care of you, and this and that third. And it's like, that's not the intention. The intention is to manipulate your emotions and really play on your intelligence, or play on your top, as we like to say. But number two, predators are good at grooming and love bombing. And they flatter you, they gift you stuff, buy you stuff, and overwhelm you with attention quickly too. And just like I said, people consider it game, or a lot of men consider it game, and y'all know what it is. Women especially, because I've heard it 1,000 times from women. It's like, when I first met him, he was so attentive. You know what I'm saying? He did for me. He gave me without asking. He did this. He answered every phone call, everything, until he got you where he wanted you. And then everything started to flip. Everything started to show. You know what I'm saying? He barely did anything. When you called him out on it, he wants to argue, and you can't even get him to answer the phone. So, grooming and love bombing, making you think that they care so much about you, making you think that they in love so quickly. You have to watch that. That, like we say, that's a sign of a person that need a place to stay. Or needs some help. So we have to be weary of that. You know what I'm saying? And pay close attention to those people who come in and they just feeling us. And like y'all women say nowadays, a vibe. You know what I'm saying? Like, intelligent men, you know what I'm saying, really non-intelligent, know how to create a vibe. You know what I'm saying? I'm a man. I'm a healthy, healed man, but yes, I know how to create a vibe for a woman, especially if I can talk to her, you know what I'm saying, and tap into her and see what she's all about, and see what makes her tick, see her likes and dislikes. It'll be easy for me to, build a vibe. That's not complicated. But number three, a predator is always looking to isolate you. He's always looking to isolate you. They try to cut you off from your support system so they can become your only source of validation, control. They tell you that your family and friends are jealous, you know what I'm saying, they toxic, or they not good for you, all the stuff, that they put, you know what I'm saying. Now, don't get me wrong, some of them not. Some of them not. But, you know what I'm saying, a real man is not going to try to isolate you from the people who really truly support you and who really truly care about you. You know what I'm saying? That's really pulling you away from a nurturing environment. No real man or no real woman is ever going to do that. So the women now who, you know what I'm saying, who say they don't want a man who talk to no women, or they don't, if you talk to your ex, or if you still dealing with your kid's mother and this to that third, and all of the people, you know what I'm saying, in your life, if they are insisting on you leaving those people alone, cutting those people off, or they have to be a part of the situation and all that, it's not a good look. It's not a good look, because it's about family, man. It's about love. It's about team. You know what I'm saying? It's about your tribe. So anybody that's trying to, be in your life, and they trying to become a part of your tribe. If you have a good tribe, if you have a good support system, they want to, be a part of that support system. They want to know, like me. I know, negative people, but at the same time, as my woman, as my mate, like, I want to know your friends. I want to know the people who support you. You know what I'm saying? Because I want to help them support you better. They can help me help support you better in the perfect world. So anybody that's with the isolation and trying to, get you off to themselves and don't want you going around nobody, you know what I'm saying? That's the isolation, and that's a form of control. And that's something that, predators specialize in. Because if I can get them away from everybody else and I can, get them to, stop communicating with their homegirls, stop communicating with their families, once they get you to that point, that's when the real abuse starts. When they know you don't have anybody to go to, or you don't trust anybody, or because they've isolated you, that's when the real them usually come out. So before it even get to that point, once you see a person, you know what I'm saying? Now don't get me wrong, just like I said, if your little thought friend is calling you and talking about, you know what I'm saying, the dudes she messing with, or this and that and this and that, like, yeah, a real man, you know what I'm saying, is gonna be like, hey, what is she calling you for? You in a relationship. If she not calling you, if she just calling you to tell you about her escapades, that would be the same as my homeboy, and I'm in a relationship, calling me and telling me about his escapades. That wouldn't be, you know what I'm saying, cool, because that person is in a relationship. And if your friend don't realize that's on your friend. You need to put your friend in a place. But like I said, not the isolation. You know what I'm saying? Not the people that are positive in your life. You know what I'm saying? The people that bring value to their life. If you're my woman and you have people around you that bring value to your life, I want to be a part of that circle too, because I can bring value to that circle, and those same people will bring value to my life. It is what it is. So if they trying to isolate you and take you around from get you to stop dealing with positive people, it's a problem, and you need to check that immediately before it get out of hand. But another tool is gaslighting and psychological manipulation. They make you question your own reality, decisions, or feelings. An example would be when you catch somebody lying and they turn it on you and say you're insecure, or you crazy, you know what I'm saying? Or like, come on, let's be real. We adults now. We adults now. A liar is a liar. It is what it is. We have to learn to respect, you know what I'm saying, what it is when we see it and deal with it. And I'm going to just keep it real. Boundaries. A person shouldn't get to lie to you more than once. The first time they lie, you see they're a liar. And I'm not saying I'm perfect, you know what I'm saying? I have told lies. And the difference is when you tell lies and when you know what I'm saying, live by a set of standards, or you live by a set of morals, that lie don't go uncorrected. That lie doesn't go uncorrected, because a person with a conscience, you can't live with the lie. And eventually you're going to have to come back and say, hey, look, it was early on in the relationship. I didn't want to divulge all my personal information, so I lied about that. That happens. You know what I'm saying? I can't lie. People leave stuff out, this to that there, because they try to hide, you know what I'm saying, the worst parts of themselves. People do it all the time. I say women do it with makeup and fake hair, but that's a different story. But if you come to me, you know what I'm saying, and I've told you a lie, there's no way in hell I can, not acknowledge and accept the fact that I lied. Simple as that. You know what I'm saying? And that's with anybody. You know what I'm saying? So the gaslighting, the psychological manipulation is when you catch me cheating and I said that's not what you saw. That's really your insecurities. It's not what you saw. It's not what you think. I'm not those other guys that you're used to dealing with. You know what I'm saying? All that is a form of gaslighting and psychological manipulation. And that is a major tool of these predators that we're talking about. And next is a pattern of victims or destruction. Listen carefully. They have a trail of broken friendships, relationships, and shady dealings. An example, always blaming others for their failed relationships, past business issues, and stuff of that nature. Let's keep it real. Like, as men, I see the men do this. I see the women do it too, but I'm speaking on the men now. As men, I see this. And women fall for it. Hook, line, and sinker. I see how quick y'all go. But If a man tells you, if you ask a man about his past relationships and everything that happened in those relationships, and women, y'all got this bad, but if everything has happened in those relationships or everybody else's fault, beware. 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 Because as a man, not only can I tell you, you know what I'm saying, what a person did, what a woman did wrong in a relationship with me, I also can tell you what I did wrong and what I could have did better. So believe me when I say this. I tell people all the time, as a man, in this day and age, one of the most powerful things that I could say as a man, and really that based on my foundation, the foundation as a man is that I come with references, good or bad. I come with references. You know what I'm saying? Like, when you meet me, I'm not the guy to tell you, hey, you know, well, what happened is I don't deal with my baby mama because she this. I have never not dealt with my kids' mothers. I've always dealt with them. I always will. You know what I'm saying? I have never, you know what I'm saying, the relationships I had, a lot of the relationships I had, the women I've had relationships with, I'm friends with those women still today. And if those women, if somebody else was to ask one of those women, hey, what do you think about him? You know, I know you dated him before, whatever. They can give you know what I'm saying, an honest opinion. And when you meet the men or the women who everybody else was, all past relationship was bad, everybody hurt them, everybody did this, everybody did that, you know what I'm saying? That may be true, but I wouldn't buy it. I wouldn't buy it because it can't be everybody else's fault. It can't be everybody else's fault. You know what I'm saying? Like, I went through a situation, you know what I'm saying, where one of my kids' mothers tried to keep my kids from me. I never told I never went to the next person and said, oh, I can't see my kids because she keeping them from me. No, because I have took legal measures to make sure I could, even when she said I couldn't. So I don't buy that. That's why I'm using men in this situation. I don't buy that. So when your man is telling you, I don't get to see my kid because my baby mama be tripping and this here and that there, this, I'm not buying that. And I'm not saying women don't trip. Like I said, I've had women trip on me. But you didn't stop me from seeing my kids. You might have been able to do it for a minute or two, but it's not just going to end there. I'm just not going to go on with my life and just now I'm mad and telling everybody, oh, my kids' mama won't let me see my kids. That's no, I'm saying why I won't see my kids. No, that's not how it go. That's not how it go. That's not how it go. You know what I'm saying? And if you meet a man and he's telling you this, he doesn't see his kids, he, you know, like mad at his and bitter at his exes, you know what I'm saying? He really don't mess with his family. My family be tripping and it's not everybody else. It's not everybody else. That's usually the sign of a predator. And the crazy part about it is, women, y'all can, know what I'm saying, attest to what I'm about to say. A lot of women that bought into that, my baby mama ain't shit, and my baby mama won't let me see my kids, and my baby mama won't. A lot of the women that listened to that from a man ended up in the same situation. When he left you, no matter how he left you, whether he cheated on you, whatever, you put his ass out or whatever, the story stayed the same. My baby mama tripping and she won't let me see my kids. Now tell me I'm lying. You can holler at me in the chat and tell me I'm lying. Women with kids, y'all probably done been through this before. Women who dated men with kids, y'all probably done been through this before, 9 times out of 10. So you know I'm not lying. You know I'm not lying. But like I said, learn to see and understand these characteristics in predators, and that way you can miss a lot of this. You can miss a lot of the negativity, a lot of the heartache, you know what I'm saying, and a lot of the bullshit, literally, by just paying attention, by simply paying attention and being aware, and stop getting caught up because he's 6'2", he got dreads, he got brown eyes, he got waves, and you know, he's so fine, and it's all this shit there, all that, you know what I'm saying, blinds you to seeing what's really going on. And I'm gonna say this too, while I'm on, you know what I'm saying, this relationship mode. People with a type, women with a type, men with a type, what has it got you? If your type, if you have a type and you finding good men that are your type, you have, you know what I'm saying, a good type. But if you study choosing your type and they turning out to be predators, then something wrong with your type. Something wrong with you and what you're choosing. You need to switch it up. You need to try something different. Maybe your type is not what it. Maybe your type is toxic. Maybe your type is predatory. So you need to take that in consideration. But like I said, it happens to all of us. It has happened to us. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is. But like I said, I talk about the problems, the issues, but I also offer solutions. So what I want to talk about now is how to avoid being a victim of these predators. How to avoid being a victim of these predators. How much, Audrey? I see you in the chat. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you, thank you, thank you. But the number one way to avoid being a victim of a predator is to truly, truly know your worth. Know your worth. Because I'm going to tell you this, and I'm going to keep it real. How much can you say you're worth if you're dealing with people like this? How much can you really say you're worth if you're dealing with people like this? Let's just be realistic. Let's tap in right now. Abusive people, abusive men, ladies. How much can you say you're worth if you continue to be with abusive men? See, that's what I'm saying. Like, as far as violence, when people tell me they're in abusive relationships, you know what I'm saying? Like, people say I don't have sympathy with a lot of people because I get women that tell me, yeah, this man used to fight me. I fought his ass back. What does that make you? You know what I'm saying? That makes you prone to violence. You like violence. You're a violent person. Because the same person, the first time you hit on them, they get in the hell on. But a person that likes to fight and a person that's toxic and into that type of stuff, they'll stay with them. They'll stay with them and they'll battle it out. And I got the best in him, he got the best. No. That is delusional. That is delusional. But if you really know your worth, when you love and value yourself, you're less likely to tolerate abuse or manipulation. Simple as that. Simple as that. And I'm not going to say, you know, like, you leave this or leave me. Like, I'm a man. I'm a sane, healed person. I'm going to stay with a person, you know what I'm saying, and try to build and try to do my part up until the point where I start to feel differently about that person. I'm not going to stay with a person long enough for that person to make me hate them or for that person to make me dislike them. Because then I'm going against what I believe when it comes to God. God told me that I have to love everyone, even if I have to love some people from a distance. So I'm very aware of that. I'm not going to stay with a woman long enough for her to keep doing stuff to make me hate her, to make me dislike her, or to make no. It's up to me early, just like it's up to the women to realize this is not for me. I'm getting out of this situation. So know your worth. That's number one. Know your worth and never let anybody else put a value on you. Nobody. But set boundaries early, man. If someone pushes past your no or dismisses your boundaries, get rid of their ass. That's a red flag. That's the biggest red flag. That's the biggest red flag. And I'm talking about whatever it is. Fellas, if you don't like her dressing that way, hey, tell her. You know what I'm saying? If she feels, hey, this is the way I dress to this, if you can't deal with it, that's on you. Move around, brother. That's not what you want. That's not what you need. And there's nothing wrong with her, you know what I'm saying, in that sense, and it's nothing wrong with you. Just, you know what I'm saying, understand that this is not for me. This is not what I wanted to make. This, you know what I'm saying? So it shouldn't be that difficult. But set your boundaries early. Women, set your boundaries. No, you can't come to my house. You know what I'm saying? No, you can't, you know, spend the night. No, you can't lay up. No, you can't. You know what I'm saying? Set your boundaries. Set your boundaries, because if you don't have any boundaries, a person feel like they can do whatever they want to you. And that's usually what happens. That's why these people get in these abusive relationships and stay so long. Because they don't know their worth. They have no real self-value or self-worth. And they don't set boundaries. They have no boundaries. And just like they said before, if you stand for nothing, you'll fall for anything. So set your boundaries and stand strong on your boundaries. That's what part of what makes a woman a virtuous woman. That is what makes a woman a good woman. It's not none of the other stuff y'all think it is. It's the fact that she has a set of morals and she has a set of values that dictate her boundaries. And she's not going to let nobody cross them. That's what, you know what I'm saying, real men value. But number 3, take your time. Take your time. This is one of the hardest ones right now because a lot of women want fast food relationships. You know what I'm saying? I heard a woman say it don't take you 6 months to know if you want to marry somebody. That's bogus. That's bogus. And people that think like that, why do you look at those people and tell me why they end up in the worst relationships, in bad relationships? Because it's a rush job. It's a rush job. Like you don't get to know a person that quickly. It ain't possible. Just like I tell people, when that woman that said it don't take you 6 months, I said it take you 6 months just to get to know who the real woman is, because they come with the representative. With some women, it take you 6 months before they take their weave out and let you see how short their hair is. For some women, it takes 6 months before they even, know what I'm saying, would allow you to see them without their makeup. You know what I'm saying? So take your time. Take your time. It's not a rush. Real connections take time to grow. Anyone rushing you is likely trying to control the pace for their own benefit. Simple as that. Manipulation. Predatory behavior. If they trying to rush you, you know, oh, this is that, I'm feeling y'all like, yeah, that's predatory behavior. Watch out for that. Run from it. Run from it. And another thing with the ladies, keep your eyes open and not your heart. When you lead with your heart, that's the wrong thing. When you lead with how he make me feel, that's the wrong thing. Men, lead with your heart, you know what I'm saying, and stop leading with the little head. That's what it is a lot of times. A lot of times the men get caught up and trapped, you know what I'm saying, and not keeping their eyes open, but they got that little eye, you know what I'm saying, on that little head wide open. And that leaves us, you know, to some bad places, brother. That leaves us to some bad places. But watch their actions, not just their words. Like we know, a funky pair of lips will tell you anything. But if I watch you long enough, you know what I'm saying, and I see you in different environments, and I see you in different circumstances. I see you when you're mad. I see you when you upset. I see you when you're happy. You know what I'm saying? Take your time. Take your time, because you really get to find out who a person is by taking your time. You have to see them in a stressful situation. I see women, you know what I'm saying, jump in relationships with men, and then when times get hard, you see a side of him that you never saw before because you was moving too fast. That's all a part of who he is. Who he is when he's happy. Who he is when he's sad. Who he is when he's broke. Who he is when he has everything. That's when, you know what I'm saying, people tend to really show their true colors. So we have to take our time to get to know these people. To really get to know these people. Think about it. Like keep it real. How many times have you ended up in a relationship with a person for 6 months to a year? But then when they true self start coming forward, you realize you don't even know who they are. If that's ever happened to you, hit me up. Drop a line in the chat and let me know. If that's ever happened to you, drop a line in the chat and let me know. Because, like I said, very few people come to the table as who they are. 90%, 95% of the people we deal with are behind the mask. And they allow you to see what they want you to see, which is usually the best qualities. But if you keep your eyes open and you try your best to keep your heart out of it and watch these people's actions, you'll really get a good idea of who they are before you get involved. Because you shouldn't, know what I'm saying, like, you shouldn't even got pregnant and had a baby by the dude that was broke, know what I'm saying, and didn't have nothing going for itself. You shouldn't even got that far. That show you was moving too fast. With men, if you not, know what I'm saying, into the gold diggers, you should never, know what I'm saying, end up in a relationship with a gold digger if you took your time, you know what I'm saying, to really get to know her and figure out what she was all about. It just wouldn't happen. And number 5, I say this sparingly, but if you are, for our balanced and whole people out there, both men and women, trust your gut. I trust mine because I'm not damaged. No women have, ruined me or nothing like that. So I trust my gut. And I say that because if you have been damaged, if you have been cheated on, if you have been abused, and you haven't got over that trauma, and you haven't, worked to get past those issues, then a lot of times you can't even trust your gut because your gut is what led you into the situation. So a lot of times when people are damaged or people have been hurt and they haven't dealt with that pain or that trauma, then they really can't trust their gut. But for the healthy, whole people, trust your gut. I trust my gut. And like I said, a lot of people, I have told people, hey, that person is not for you. Your mama is not for you. Your sister is not for you. These people are not for you. And that person, you know what I'm saying? Like, any saying, like, who are you to tell me about my people? But at the end of the day, my gut told me, and just like I said, it turned out to be true. It turned out to be true. And so trust your gut. If you see, not that women intuition, because like I tell people all the time, women intuition, you wouldn't even be dealing with the dudes you done dealt with if your intuition was on point. Let's keep that real. Women, intuition. Look at your personal relationships. If you got into a relationship with predators, your intuition didn't warn you. So your intuition is trash, really. Let's keep it real. Let's keep it real. But if you're a healthy, whole person, trust your gut. Trust your intuition. If something feels off, it usually is. Intuition is survival wisdom. And that's what a lot of us possess, survival wisdom. But like I said, if your intuition is not fine-tuned, hey, I wouldn't trust it. I wouldn't trust it at all. But, like I said, family, predators only thrive where there is darkness, silence, and a lack of awareness. But when we shine a light, share our stories, and learn to protect our hearts, minds, and pockets, they lose power. They lose power. You take their power away from them. If you've been preyed on, don't carry shame. Carry wisdom. You should be wiser. And that's what I say about people, you know what I'm saying, when your intuition or your heart or your gut. Because it shouldn't take 3 or 4 times for somebody to come into your life and try to destroy you before you realize, I'm not doing something right. I'm not doing something right. And one of the main things is the wisdom that you should get when it does happen. Everybody been through something. Everybody been through something. You know what I'm saying? Everybody been through something. So when you learn from what you go through, it helps you moving forward. It helps you avoid a lot of that same stuff. So the people that are constantly ending up with predators and in predatory relationships, there's something wrong. There's something internally wrong that you need to deal with so that you can stop attracting and start seeing these predators for who they are. But like I said, man, don't carry shame. Everybody know what I'm saying, and I despise people that say, oh, I don't know how she did that, or I don't know how she put up with that. How? Because 9 times out of 10, those people done went through and put up with worse. But that shows me you haven't dealt with it. Because when you deal with it, if you've been through something like that, you know what I'm saying, and you dealt with your own personal trauma and issues, it provides you with a level of empathy to the point where even if I don't understand what you've been through, I will never belittle you for going through it. Because I understand that it can happen to anybody. It can happen to anybody. But talk about it. Heal from it. Teach others. Let's build a culture where we're no longer easy targets, but strong communities that protect each other. That's the only way it's going to work. Talk to somebody. Tell somebody. That's what they don't want you to do. Ask somebody, hey, I'm dealing with this person, you know what I'm saying? And this person is like pushing me to be in a relationship. And, I told them I'm not ready and I want to take talk to somebody. Because if you talk to the right person, they'll tell you. You know it's a red flag. But if you need me to tell you that, then no, don't talk to them. No, you know that's a red flag. But if you found value in tonight's episode, share it. Tag someone who needs to hear it. And more importantly, be the light in someone's life. Be the light in somebody's life, man. That's what I try to do. But Drop a comment if you've ever dealt with a predator. Let me know. I want to hear about it and what you learned from it. What you learned from it. Because every situation that we deal with in life, every person that we deal with in life, it's an opportunity to grow and develop, good or bad. That's what life is all about. So nobody's saying nobody never got played or you should never got played, but you're played to teach you a lesson. You got played to teach you a lesson, and hopefully you learn that lesson and you won't get played again. But like I said, man, I appreciate everybody tuning in. I appreciate everybody giving me an hour of their time this week. And like I said, if you watching the live stream, I salute you. I thank you for tuning in. But if not, I post all these videos to my YouTube page, youtube.com. I think it's I am Toby O'Neal. But go check this episode out. Share the episode. Share any other episode. Check out the other episodes. You know what I'm saying? Drop a comment. Let me know what you think. And if you like the content, hit the subscribe button. Hit the subscribe button. Share the page. Invite somebody else, you know what I'm saying, to partake in what we're talking about. Because the more people we have in a conversation, the more views and opinions we have, and the better chance that we have of getting it right. The better chance we have of getting it right. So again, thank y'all for tuning in to the P-Ave Perspective. I'm your host, Mr. O'Neal, and I want to say thank everybody and have a great night and have a great rest of your week. Peace.